So the next tune that I want to talk about on this, the name of this project is Dave Smith and Friends Old Man Hands, and basically it's a tribute, from a nobody. Keep in mind, I am a nobody, and there's no one that's going to want to ever like look at this stuff and listen to it. So it's basically a tune that's reflecting on all the people that he's worked with throughout his career. And some of those people are not nobodies. A lot of those people are somebodies. And I was lucky enough as a nobody to be able to work with some somebodies. So the next one is Old Man Hands. And basically, the title of this tune came about when this guy wakes up one morning and he looks at his hands and he realizes his hands now look like his father's hands just before his father passed away. And it's really quite a revelation to him because he had never really thought about aging before, and now suddenly looks at his hands and goes, well, "I'm an old man. This is how my dad looked." So you combine that with a guy who still is very active. He still loves life. He still loves music. He still loves women. He still loves all this kind of stuff. And the two sort of clash because I think generally in society, we want old people to get in a wheelchair and go away. Um, and this guy is kind of going like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to continue with my life. I'm going to live it in a way that many people aren't going to appreciate or even think it's a good way to live. They're going to call him this guy all kinds of weird names and everything. But if you listen to the lyrics, it'll explain everything you need to know about aging in America and still having energy to do things. The people on this track are, it's kind of a composite of a lot of people that I played with. The picture up on YouTube is of from left to right is Steve Nelson, Craig Thomas, Ken Stange, Cal Campbell, who, interestingly enough, is Glenn Campbell's son. And then there's me in the middle, and then Randy Landis, really fine bass player, and Alan Magini, who I played with in a band that I had back in the late '70s, early '80s called Squash. Uh, Craig Thomas is the guy singing on this and plays sopranino, which is like sort of like a soprano sax, but it is what soprano is to tenor, sopranino is to alto, if I have that right. And he plays a sopranino solo on it. Craig and I went to junior high school together, so I've known Craig for a really, really long time. Very talented singer, songwriter. He plays saxophone. He sings. His voice is incredible. He's worked with a lot of people. Played with Jim Messina for many, many years on the road. A great friend. I learned a lot from Craig in terms of playing and understanding time and understanding groove and things like that. Um, the Cal Campbell thing is interesting because I had asked Ken Stange about a studio uh, where we could do this project, and he said, "Well, this kid out in the valley's got a studio, home studio. A lot of people have that." And I walk in, and I'm getting set up and everything, and I go up to Cal, and I see all these pictures of Glenn Campbell, and I said, "Oh wow!" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know Glenn?" And he says, "That's my father." And they had just gotten off the road, kind of a depressing road trip because this was a road trip where they had to shut it down because Glenn's illness was was so severe that he couldn't continue to perform. Cal Campbell was wonderful, very, very, very nice guy, and I think he ended up going to Nashville. So that is Dave Smith and Friends Reflection CD, Old Man Hands, featuring Craig Thomas.